I need a wrench. How about a hammer? I'm gonna need a torch. I need a cookie. Welcome to Travels with Charlie, Vermont politics in real life. We're gonna have a tough time getting this thing started.
That's true.
Yeah, I know you own a lot of cars, but you don't know anything about engines.
No, very little. No,
Mike, how about you?
Only electrics. I've skipped out, but I've replaced some batteries in my day and a few tires roadside. So maybe I'm a little bit ahead of Senator.
We could be in a little bit of trouble.
I put air in tires. Yeah.
We're going to be discussing TCI today, Transportation and Climate Initiative. As you know, a bipartisan group of Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states established a cap on global warming pollution from transportation fuels through reduced emissions and cleaner transportation. My guest today to discuss the topic, Senator Dick Mazza from Colchester, Chair of the Transportation Committee, and Representative Mike McCarthy, member of the House Transportation Committee from St. Albans. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for
Pleasure.
Hopefully by the end of this segment, we'll be able to get this truck started and out of here.
There we go.
All right,
That's
let's try. So there's a lot of speculation as to what a fee or a charge on gasoline could be. It could be anywhere from 5 to 17 cents, an additional fuel charge. A number of governors around our area are coming out now and saying no. New Hampshire Governor Sununu, Governor Ted Lamont from Connecticut. What are your thoughts, guys, as we move forward in this legislative session, how we're going to struggle with this and work with this?
Well, we've only been there a couple of weeks, and I've already spent, our committee has spent about 4 hours listening to different testimony. It's a very, very involved subject. I think there's, everyone can agree, whatever the party you are, that we want to take care of our climate and make sure that it's clean. On the other hand, we got to be very cautious how we raise money, right, because we have a transportation fund that is in dire need of money, and we want to make sure that a lot of that money goes for roads and bridges.
The Transportation and Climate Initiative, it isn't a direct tax on fuels. So the important thing for people to understand is it's an agreement among a bunch of states to say we're only going to allow so much fuel to be sold in the next 10 years. So one of the things that we're hearing is being negotiated by the governors is, are we going to have a 20, 22, or 25% reduction in the amount of greenhouse gas emissions from gasoline and diesel over the next decade? And that'll drive a lot of what the market might pay for those fuels. And that'll all be done at the wholesale level. So 5 to 15 cents per gallon in increased costs is something that would come out of that. But the thing that's driving it is by putting a cap on the amount of carbon emissions from the transportation sector.
As I pointed out, a number of states that surround us are saying no to this. So if they don't sign on, then does Vermont drop it, or do you continue on and try to work other ways around it?
I think there needs to be more information. Right now, it's undetermined how much it would cost per gallon at the pumps. Yeah. Sooner or later, it's going to end up at the pumps. And number two, how much money do we get back and how do we spend it? Those are the key questions that have not been answered. Until they're answered, it's very difficult to make a decision because what do we got coming back to us?
Besides the do we and other states participate, the other thing about cap and invest markets, like we already do this with the electricity sector, with the Renewable Greenhouse Gas Initiative. Most people in Vermont know it as RGGI. And states are trying to get into that because it allows you to take the money from the auction where the wholesale providers of the energy are paying for their allowance and put it into things like public transit. We get to decide as legislators and as Vermonters, if we do participate in a cap and invest market like TCI, we get to decide what to spend that money on. So whether it's regressive or not is really about, do we put the money back in the hands of the people who can least afford to pay more for their transportation?
Dick, I know you're a Corvette lover. I hear rumors there's an electric Corvette coming. Would you get one?
There will be.
Yeah.
No, I like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to them. I just think that you have to have a range and you have to have a convenience.
Yeah.
And people need both because there are people who travel the highway every day for a lot. I've got many of my folks that deliver to my store that drive from St. Albans, Swanton, Innisburg every day.
Sure.
Well, I mean, that's quite a, back and forth.
Yeah.
So it has to be, and it will be. But as my initial statement said, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for that. Not that we're opposed to it. As the governor says, we got to find out exactly what our choices are and how do we react to them. And
So I
that's
think
not there.
The scary thing, though, is we knew when I was a little kid that we were putting too much greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, that the planet was going to warm over time. We didn't know exactly when things were going to start happening, but we're already seeing, sunny day flooding in Miami, right? So we know here in Vermont that the maple sugaring season is changing. You ask a farmer, they know that the climate is changing. So the question that I have is, as it will take time for these new technologies to develop, but do we as a planet have the time? And I think more and more Vermonters are starting to realize we need to get together with our neighboring states and other countries in the world to do something, or else we're going to be in real trouble in terms of whether we're going to have a ski industry in Vermont, whether we're going to have a maple.
We are
sugar
ahead of
industry in
everybody else. You look at other states.
Not Vermont.
Vermont's
Not
not
We're heading in
ahead?
the wrong direction.
Oh, no,
We have
no.
more carbon emissions per capita than any other state in New England.
I would disagree with you look at Florida, for example, they don't have any inspection standards
Right.
on cars. So how can you justify Florida is equal to Vermont on just inspections, which is this vehicle if it's inspected?
Right.
So there are areas where Vermont is so far ahead. We are in the forefront, I believe, with clean energy, but other
If your
states
car's
are-
not burning clean, you don't get a sticker.
That's right. That's right.
Mike, you just pointed out this truck is actually as old as you.
Yeah, it looks like the right
How
vintage.
does that make you feel, Dick?
Pretty old.
So, as we talk about electric vehicles, one of the areas that we haven't touched on is, for instance, I drive a gas vehicle. I go fill up at the gas station. I'm paying a tax on that gas. That tax goes towards keeping the roads upgraded, roads and bridges upgraded. You drive an electric vehicle. I don't think you paid any tax towards the road. Dick, I think we need to collect a couple bucks from
that's
them
right.
now.
That's a good point. You have to.
You got
brought
$3?
up, because gasoline consumption is dwindling all the time. Number one, but number two, every time an electric vehicle goes on our highways, they do the same amount of road wear and tear.
Right.
But yet there's no tax. We have to figure out a system of how you pay per kilowatt towards the infrastructure in Vermont. If you want your roads to be paved, we did over $100 million last year in paving. If you want them to continue, we need money.
Yeah, and I'm right there. I mean, I drive EVs, and I think I should be paying my fair share for the road. So if you think about like what the state gas tax is for the average driver, adds up to about $150 a year. So I'd rather have that paid on a per use basis than all at once for EVs, just like it is, you pay it as you fill up when you use a gas vehicle. Right now there's a few thousand electric vehicles registered in Vermont. There might be up to 10,000 the next year and a half or so, the way things are going. So we need to start getting them into the fold. But the other side of it is the gas and the diesel are subsidized to an enormous extent. 6 years ago, gas was $1 more than it is today per gallon. And part of the reason for that is we as a federal government have really heavily subsidized the fossil fuel industry. How we pay for the roads, even if we didn't do any electric vehicles, it's gotta change. It has to evolve because even regular gas vehicles are getting more and more efficient, and they're having the kind of tax that we have now that pays for our roads gets less and less and less and less money every year. The cost of asphalt, the cost of doing a bridge gets more and more every year. So we have a revenue source that funds our roads and bridges that doesn't match up anyway, even if you weren't even thinking about any of this electric stuff.
There's been some discussion, and oh boy, a lot of people just don't like this when you bring up the mileage thing, because they go, I'm trying to keep track of how many miles I drive a year.
That would not work.
It wouldn't work.
No, because you've got to document year to year how many miles you drive, and the person, as you were speaking, that has to drive 100 miles a day to go to work, I mean, they'd be penalized terribly.
We've looked at and talked about like how would you do it, and there's two things. It's sort of like the logistics of it get creepy when you start to talk about keeping track of how many miles people are driving, and nobody wants like Big Brother watching them, right? So that's one part of why vehicle mile travel.
And tourists.
Yeah, and the other
we
the
want
other
to hit
piece-
the tourists.
Yeah, you don't want to just charge
right.
Vermonters. You want to have it.
That's
So,
right.
if we went to a regional or a national vehicle miles traveled and we figured out some way to do it that wasn't
That's right.
creepy, that would be fair.
Yeah.
But sometimes what's fair isn't always what people want. Right?
All right, this is the part of the program you guys are really going to enjoy. I always give my guests a magic wand. I let them wave it, and they can get whatever they wish for. Typically, it's on our topic, but Dick, if you want that electric Corvette, go ahead.
No, I think this has been a very informative show this morning, and I'd like to see going forward. It's a very, very hot subject. There's going to be a lot of discussion, and I would hope that everyone works together. I would hate to see partisan politics get involved in this discussion. I don't want to hear, well, we're not doing it because this party or that party. We've got to address this issue together. And because it is an issue that affects all of us. So my only hope is that whoever the governor or lieutenant governor or senators or House members can work on this issue together.
Yeah.
Mike, you got the wand.
Yeah, I would say with my magic wand, I try to get the local, us and the state government and the federal government all working together to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and make sure our climate stays habitable for all of us. I'd like my daughter to grow up in a world where she doesn't have to worry about this stuff like we do. So,
Again, thanks to my guest today, Senator Dick Mazza from Colchester. Mazza's General Store, great pastries, pies, soups during the winter months, cold beer in the summertime, and of course Mike McCarthy from St. Albans, Representative Mike McCarthy. Thank you both for being here with me today on Travels with Charlie.
Thank
We
you.
want to remind you can see more episodes of Travels with Charlie online on YouTube, Facebook, Travels with Charlie, and I'll see you in my travels.
If you be so kind to share what's on your mind, it's time well spent.
Thanks to my friends at Mike's Auto Parts for making today's shoot so successful, and especially to Todd and his 1985 Chevy pickup truck. If you're looking for tires, you're looking for auto service right here in Colchester, Mike's Auto Parts.
Back road gravel, I'll see you in my travels.